Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nerds with Friends. My name is Cody Leach. As always, I'm joined by Christian Garcia.
Hola.
Hola. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing, clicking the little bell icon. You know, all that classic stuff that podcasters and YouTubers tell you to do. We do appreciate that. Just do that for us as well. So, and if you want to take it one step further, you can become a patron of the show and check out patreon.com/Nerds with Friends. Help support us. Give us some little shekels. We do appreciate that as well. Today, we're talking about freaking Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Excited?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We've been waiting for this movie for a while. I think it was originally supposed to come out in like February. And now it just came out here right after Cinco de Mayo. So pretty exciting stuff. We'll give our kind of spoiler-free version first. So if you haven't seen it, you can listen to that and kind of get our baseline opinions on it. Then after that, we will go into full spoilers, what it means for the future of the MCU, what it means for the future of all characters involved, and, all that kind of stuff too. So pretty exciting stuff. Before we do that, let's do some nerdy confessions where we confess the things that make us nerds. Christian, why don't you lead us off?
My nerdy confession is I just started and finished the Pentaverate by
I watched it too.
Mike Myers. I enjoyed it. I missed funny Mike Myers stuff. The only thing for me is like I've heard so many stories of Mike Myers being like a garbage person in real life, where it's kind of like, should I be enjoying it? I mean, he hasn't done it. I mean, no Louis C.K. moments, he wasn't fucking pulling his dick out in front of people. But I've heard stories of like
how Dr. Evil was basically Dana Carvey's Lorne Michaels impression.
Yeah, and it's like, he just straight up ripped it and like never addressed it. And I think Dana Carvey's even told him a couple times, like, hey, yo, man, like, that was mine.
That was mine.
And
right.
Yeah, that's why they never. It's like why they haven't worked together since like Wayne's World and stuff like that. And obviously that would put a riff, in some guy in their friendship. You're just stealing someone's bit and not addressing it.
Yeah.
And I've also heard stories of like someone seeing him at a bar. He's like, hey, Mike Myers, I love your movies. Let me buy you a drink. And he's like, I can buy my own fucking drinks. And as like gets him and leaves, like, dude, like,
you might have caught him at the end of the night on that one.
I don't know. It's just it sucks when you hear those stories, and particularly like growing up. I loved those movies.
Wayne's World was amazing.
Yeah. So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Classic. Also great. And like the first two Austin Powers, like I know they probably didn't age well because they've been copied so many times. But man, when those first came out, those were fucking great.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And not to mention Shrek,
Yeah.
One of the biggest animated franchises of all time. I watched the Pentaverate as well. And I was not a fan of it mostly.
Really?
I only laughed one time, and it was when Shrek came up, and it was obviously voiced by Mike Myers. I'm like,
the ogre of whatever that town was.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. But man, I just thought so many of the jokes were just like super stale and like not funny. I liked Keegan Michael Key. I thought he was great.
What, 2 episodes?
Yeah, 2 episodes. A little spoiler alert. I mean, it's a comedy show, but and then I don't know. It just felt like really dated comedy. Like he hadn't, you expect the first thing from him in quite some time to be like really fresh and exciting, and it was just like, oh, these feel like jokes from 2001.
And maybe that's why I liked it, man, because I mean, maybe he just went to stuff that worked back then. It still worked on me.
Yeah.
I could imagine not being everyone's cup of tea, but I enjoyed it.
There was another part I liked is when they came from Canada to the United States, and it went from like 4.3 aspect ratio to 19:20 or whatever. And or 16:9, I should say, and then everything got like HD. They're like, oh, it is clear over here. And he's like looking at his hands and stuff. That was pretty funny. But yeah, man, I don't know. I was really hopeful because the premise is really funny.
I really liked some of the characters, like when he played the Australian guy who was obviously like what's his name, Bill O'Reilly, or just like a mixture of all these like Fox News people.
Right.
The Russian guy had one bit, and it was always the same thing. He sounded funny when he said things.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like the conspiracy.
You need to fuck us.
Yeah. He's like, what?
He's Russian. Oh, okay, cool.
He's like, focus. He means focus.
He means focus, yeah.
You know.
I don't know. Yeah, I was a little bit let down by that, but I'm glad you liked it.
The American Conspiracy guy I liked as well.
Yeah. I don't
the
know.
one who was like mostly him with no makeup. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Again, I can understand why it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth checking out, watch an episode or two, see if it's for you. It is, at the end of the day, it is Mike Myers doing the classic Mike Myers thing, playing a bunch of different characters. So, maybe you'll have a little bit better time with it than I did. But yeah,
what's her name was really hot too. I forgot her name. Oh my god,
she's Canadian girl.
Yeah.
I don't know what her name was, but she was hot. Also, that was another thing. Like the whole Canadian thing, like they weren't even doing good Canadian accents. It was
a boot.
Yeah,
for her, it can be forgiven
because again, slight spoilers. Turns out she's not actually Canadian, like in the show at least. Yeah, I was like, oh, these are the worst impressions of Canadians ever. And Mike Myers is Canadian,
I thought his were good. I mean, I've never met too many Canadians, but
anyway, well, glad you liked it. I hated it, but it's fine. My nerdy confession this past week was Warhammer Fest, which is generally a time of year where there's like 4 days, I think, of Games Workshop like announcing new shit that's coming out.
How much money did you spend?
So I saw all these new announcements, and like the stuff isn't coming out like it's coming out in like a month or something. It releases gradually, but these were the announcements, right? It's kind of like Comic-Con for Warhammer stuff. But it something about it just kind of got me in the mood, So I went to my Warhammer store. Shout out to Warhammer store, Los Gatos, California. Went and hung out with Louis, the manager.
Jesus, Los Gatos?
Yep.
Fuck.
That's the closest. Well, it's not true. There's one in Union City, but they've been closed since middle of COVID. Because the way those stores work is there's one employee in every store, and it's just the manager. And so they were closed for so long, that guy was tired of not getting paid, I guess. And so he found another job, and so they have not found a replacement. So
that's 3 hours away, Los Gatos?
No, it's 45, 50 minutes.
Oh, really? Oh.
It's San Jose, basically. It's like the rich part of San Jose.
Got it.
Yeah.
You mean the richer part of San Jose, I guess?
Yeah, because San Jose is so big. It's expensive everywhere, but there's definitely poor people. But Los Gatos is that's where all the Ferraris are. There used to be a Ferrari Lamborghini dealership there. It's real bougie downtown area. Anyway, I went and saw my boy Louis down there. He's a real nice guy. And I went down there when they were ground reopening. That store had a water damage where the roof caved in from rain or something like that. So they had to get it remodeled. And I went down there during the grand opening, talked to the manager. He's a really cool dude. And so whenever I'm down in the area, visiting my dad or something like that, I'll try to stop by. And you want to take a guess at how much money I spent on
$400?
Oh, thank God I didn't spend $400. I spent $230.
Okay.
And the main thing, I got this one thing. Let me see if I can find a quick picture of it. They had this really cool art piece there where it was like a print, a nice colorful art print of this old book cover. I think it was the Codex for the Sisters of Battle. And they had them lined up there, and I was just like, oh fuck, I need to get this. Here, this is it. Come on, give me some high res. Close enough, I suppose. And so I got one of those, and I was pretty juiced about it. And of course it doesn't want to open. I'll just switch it over here. But it was pretty sweet. It's this piece right here of the Sisters of Battle, kind of like with the one head honcho lady kind of looking over the battle. Here's a little bit closer view, and it's just like super old school,
super
80s fantasy. And this is John Blanche, who he did a lot of the like original 40K art and stuff like that. And so I got that. It was like $50, but I was like, it's so cool. It's kind of worth it. And then I got Abaddon, the spoiler, who's like the head guy of the Chaos Space Marines. And then I got this really cool, whimsical, what was it called? Like, it's called like a Sylvaneth Revenant or something like that. But really, really cool models. And, they're not really something I would necessarily play in like an army or something, but, they're definitely like cool, freaking, this is an interesting thing. Definitely cool display piece for sure. So this is, Abaddon here. And you can see he's got like sick ass like power sword, big old razor claws and shit like that. I liked him a lot. And then the Sylvaneth one, I don't recall what it was called, but it's like they're like tree elf people kind of thing. So
Ents.
So they do have some Ents kind of in their crew, I guess you would call it, in their faction. But they're also, I don't know enough about them. I'm sure, I don't even know how to spell Sylvaneth. What is it called? Revenant?
Well, English major.
Well, it's a made up word, okay? Fuck yeah. Google's got my back. They know. Yeah, they were, it's just,
that's a cool piece.
Yeah, they're kind of like, it's got this like horn that he's playing, and he's got these like vines coming up and stuff, and there's like a little beetle at the top that's hatching out of his crown kind of thing. So I thought it was a pretty cool looking piece that I can really go wild and put like some, vines and shit like that on the bottom. So pretty excited. So, and then I got some like limited edition stuff too, because I spent so much money. So, but yeah, it's fun Warhammer weekend for me.
Dude, if that guy gets commission every time you come in, he's like, fuck yeah, I'm about to hit my quota.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was a pretty slow day, but I went in on Mother's Day, so there was like no one in the store, so I was just chit-chatting with him for like an hour kind of thing. And yeah, it was, I was probably one of the bigger sales there. The only other guy that came in while I was there was this guy who was asking for like some free giveaway thing that they wanted. Like, okay, cool, a negative customer.
Yeah, you're like, get out of here, man.
You're just costing us money. But yeah, man, it's a fun time. So I'm excited.
I can imagine some little kid coming in and is like, oh, do you guys have these groceries? He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. Come back with your mom's credit card. Big announcement for the Warhammer Fest though is that they're coming out with a new Horus Heresy box set. And for anyone who's anywhere near interested in Warhammer, Horus Heresy is like this big event that took place like 10,000 years ago, where the Emperor of Mankind, who's like the leader of the humankind, as you would assume from his title, he makes these like super powered demigod sons, and he's got like 18 of them, and the Horus Heresy is where one of them breaks off and goes against the Emperor, and so it's like 9 versus 9 kind of thing. And it's always had it's had its own game for a while. But they came out with a new edition and a bunch of new models for that are all plastic now, which is cool because historically that game was made with like resin models, which are a little harder to deal with. So
sure, Fabian was on the show. She'd be losing her mind with you.
Yeah, I know. I already sent her that picture. She was like, "Oh my god, so sick." I'm like, "Yes, it is." Cool. All right, are you dying?
Please hope not.
Please don't die. Let's since we got a little time before our break, let's do our spoiler-free review of Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness before the break. That way, people have a nice, clean cutoff time if they haven't seen it.
Like a good shite.
So,
got a wipe.
Yeah. So why? What did you think overall? And is it worth seeing.
I mean, to me, it was a winning combination. I know, like, because I had seen it Thursday, and then I went to go watch it with Code, and he was like, how was it? I was like, I really liked it. I didn't want
That's one of those things where when your voice goes really high, I really liked it, and you're like, oh, fuck, it's so shitty. It's so bad.
To me, I did not want to taint, because we went with other friends, I didn't want to taint anyone's view on it. Because sometimes, I know, like, if Cody tells me, oh, I hated this movie, I'm going to go in probably disliking it because your opinion, like, you know, weighs heavy. And I'm like, all right, when we have, other than me liking shitty movies, we have similar tastes in, like, movies. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, I don't want to affect anyone else's opinion. And also, there was some great stuff, since we're doing no spoilers, and I didn't want even to hint of anything of that. So I didn't want to give, and because had I been like, fucking loved it, then you might have been expecting something. And I was like, all right. I went in and not knowing. I wanted everyone else to go in with that zero expectation. For me, it was a winning combination. I love Sam Raimi, and I love Doctor Strange is one of my favorites next to Spider-Man. So to me, one of my favorite directors doing, you know, one of my favorite characters is like, fuck, like, to me, it was amazing. And
yeah, you really lucked out where Sam Raimi has done two of your favorite characters.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
So for me, it's just like, all right, it's...
I mean, I can't be too mad. I got the Russo brothers doing freaking Captain America and then Taika Waititi doing Thor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, you know, we've been eating good. So.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry for anyone who loves the Eternals.
It was just funny because
I saw Chloe Zhao's other movie, though, the one...
What was like an indie film, right?
Yeah, it was an indie film about, like, what's her face? I want to say Sissy Spacek, but I don't know if that's right.
And dude, like,
Doesn't matter.
I get it.
She's like homeless.
Like, from like a studio exec's, you know, point of view, I get it. Like, sometimes you give these directors who haven't done a big blockbuster movie.
Well, Taika Waititi's a very good example.
And they kill it. You know, James Gunn, you know.
James Gunn, yeah.
Also killed Guardians before that. What was he doing? Like that superhero movie with
he did like
Rainn Wilson.
Slither, and then...
which I love.
What was the other one called? It was called like Gunn. Super. Maybe it was just called Super.
Yeah, not Super 8, no.
No, just Super.
Yeah, with Rainn
Wilson.
Yeah,
was like the superhero guy.
Yeah, like that. Or, you know, you got your... Lord of the Rings, you know,
Peter Jackson, yeah, Jesus Christ.
Dead Alive.
Man, they gambled on that guy, didn't they?
Yeah, Frighteners, which again, I love Frighteners. I love Dead Alive or Brain
Sure,
Dead.
you know, they're cool movies, but like they are not Lord of the Rings.
No, but what did Lord of the Rings do? It fucking killed it, dude.
It changed cinema forever.
Yeah, it did. So I get it from like, you know, to have her in Eternals, they're probably like, maybe it's going to be one of those that pays off. And
if you look at it this way too, like, I mean, Sam Raimi obviously he did the first two Spider-Man, or did he do all three?
I think he did all three, yes.
He did all three. Oh yeah.
Because he had Bruce Campbell, and Bruce Campbell was going to...
Right.
Anything Sam Raimi touches, you're guaranteed Bruce Campbell's going to be in it.
Right. And I will say, so he's no stranger to big budget, but this is the first time he's tried his hand at the MCU.
An official MCU, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the first time he's done a movie in like 9 years or something. And I will say this, without giving anything away, we'll obviously talk more about it later. But there are some definite Sam Raimi-isms in this movie. And if you're a fan of that, and it was probably one of my favorite like shot Marvel movies, you know, like cinematography wise, because he has a very distinct style, lots of like Dutch angles and stuff like that, where it's like tilted and you know, zooming in on people's face and stuff like that. A lot of the
perspective of the villain. Or,
right. Yeah, very, very cool stuff. And some little jump scare type stuff. Nothing too crazy. Like, I remember when they announced it, I think it was at Comic-Con, they're like, this is going to be the scariest MCU movie ever. And I mean, they're not wrong. But it's not a scary movie.
And that was my thing, because it kept getting billed as a horror movie. Yeah. And I even told you before we watched this, like, it's not going to be a horror movie. No. And it had some horror elements, but it's about as much of a horror movie as an MCU movie could be. Right.
You know?
And like I was saying, I was like, I wish they had just given him the R. And like, I mean, he did what he could with the PG-13. And in fact, some people are already fucking complaining. Obviously, there's these parents that don't do their research, who don't know Sam Raimi and what he's about and what he does. but they were complaining like, "Oh, it was too much for a PG-13 movie."
Hey, bring it up with the MPAA.
Yeah.
That's not Sam Raimi's fault.
They gave me some guidelines. I followed that motherfucker to the T.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't even say fuck. Not even once.
Not once. You gave me some guidelines, and I stayed my ass in there. So.
Yeah, exactly. I stayed in lines, just barely, but I'm in there. But yeah, it was definitely a good movie. It wasn't without a couple little faults here and there, but overall, like, to me, it's definitely a return to form for the MCU movies. Because if you think about it, Spider-Man sits on its own little island, because it's
Except
half
when he joins into
it's half Sony, half MCU.
Yeah.
Like it definitely has the MCU feel to it, but there's also Sony people involved in it too, right? So it's kind of its own thing. But if you take that out of the equation, we've had, all the the Disney Plus shows, which have been kind of hit or miss, honestly. Like, some of them better than others. Some of them just like kind of boring. And then same thing with the movies. We've had the Eternals, Black Widow, and it's just like those have been the only Phase 4 movies we've had so far, I think.
I mean, if you're not
counting,
Shang-Chi's definitely
Shang-Chi.
Phase 4, but if you're not counting No Way From Home, then yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first if we're taking Spider-Man out of the equation, because it kind of is Phase 4, but kind of not. Depending, if you've seen Spider-Man, you kind of know the ending has some ramifications, but who knows? But if you take out that one, then Phase 4 has been kind of lackluster so far. So it was nice to see kind of a good Marvel movie come in, but people are complaining about it. But I'd say I've listened to some of the complaint reviews and stuff like that, and they seem a little unfounded from what I've heard. But obviously everyone's got their opinion. But I think it was definitely worth the watch. A lot of fun, lots of cool, fun stuff, which we'll get into in the spoiler section as far as like cameos, Easter eggs, things like that. I'm
willing to watch it a third time. So.
Yeah, it's a Sam Raimi movie, so if you're a fan of Evil Dead. Or the Spider-Man 2 especially, I thought was a really good Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, they were both good.
With the Doc Ock and stuff.
Third one was but
third one was a whack. But yeah, it was overall very good experience and a fun movie. So I think everyone should watch it. But I'm sure if you've stuck around this long, you're probably ready for some spoilers. So we're going to take a quick little break, and when we get back, we're going to spoil the shit out of Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right, guys, we're about to get into some deep spoilers for Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. So let's get into it. I think we should talk first and foremost about, let's give a little plot overview.
All right.
That's probably a good thing, right? So, opens up, Doctor Strange is just having this dream of him with a ponytail and this young girl who is America Chavez. And they're running through like this cool, like, I don't know, what would you like this quantum realm, different dimension type deal,
like the space in between the parallel universes.
Yes, we find out that it's space in between universes, and we got America Chavez, who's kind of the new younger hero that they're involving in this one, and then we see he's being chased by some spirit monster thing, demon, whatever. And he's trying to reach this book on this pedestal, and he finds out that he's going to the only way to get there is to steal America Chavez's powers, which we find out she can travel through dimensions. She punches holes into dimensions in the shape of a star, which is I guess why they call her America Chavez. Also went by Miss America for a while, and he decides the only way, in the vast calculus of the multiverse is the only chance, which is a cool line that he's said before, right? He said it in No Way Home. And, but then she like opens up a portal, gets sucked through, and he like does one last redemption thing and saves her, but gets killed.
Yeah, because he was about to suck her powers. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it was kind of nice to see him. He's got the one little redemption thing scene at the end of that. And then you see our Doctor Strange wake up all sweaty from a dream. And I love that one too, because it was that classic Sam Raimi like camera flip where it starts upside down and spins around. It was so cool. So eventually, Doctor Strange is going to what's-her-face's Rachel McAdams' wedding to a different guy, and it's interrupted by freaking an alien monster, Shumagorath.
Which we're not 100% because no one said his name, but it looks a lot like him.
So here's you want some freaking what's it called? Some, I don't know, inside info. Okay, so here's a picture of the monster on the left here. That's the one who appears in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. The one on the right is what that monster is labeled as in like the credits or as a toy or something, which is Garganton or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
who is a bad guy in the Marvel universe. But if we look at actual Shumagorath,
that's what I was gonna say. Like what you see is more classic Shumagorath in the comics. What you see in the movie.
So here's Shumagorath on the left in the comics. Here's Gargantuan or Garganton or whatever his name is.
Is that actually on the video? So can people see that? Okay,
people can see that.
Now my thing is like
it's small, but sorry guys.
So on the left is what he looks like in the comics, which is what he looks a lot like in the movie.
A lot of people remember him from Marvel vs. Capcom too.
Right. But like he's a bigger villain. He would not have been the first fight and been defeated that easily. So that's when we're already doing so. When they beat him, which was awesome, and the way that he did it was awesome. I was just like, oh, it can't be him because they wouldn't have killed him off so soon.
So here's the commonly accepted consensus is the name Shumagorath. Marvel actually doesn't own the rights to that right now. It's I forget where it's like.
Was it with Sony?
It's held by some other studio tied into another IP. It's like, I think there's a name of someone in like Conan the Barbarian named Shumagorath. It's not the same character. It's not the eyeball monster, but because that name is trademarked under Conan, they can't use it. It was something weird like that.
That's so stupid.
It is stupid. So obviously they were trying to do like a in between. I don't think we will ever see a movie where actual Shumagorath is the main villain because, it's hard to make one of these MCU movies with a big, kaiju monster that doesn't speak or, does telepathy or whatever. So it was supposed to be Shumagorath is what it was. So, but it was a cool scene for sure. And we get to see Doctor Strange and now Wong, who is the Sorcerer Supreme, kind of battling it out. And one thing I really liked about this movie was that we actually get to see Doctor Strange use some different spells.
Oh yeah, he uses more darker magic, like he's summoning demons and stuff,
right?
Which is more classic to the comics. Which I loved the first movie, but it was definitely
everything was like, oh, we're just making gold stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, nah, Doctor Strange does some dark shit.
Yeah, he can do some weird, like, it's magic, so there's really not a lot of limitations to it. So anyway, he's introduced to America Chavez, and he's like, oh, we need to figure this out. I have, you find out that like your dreams are glimpses into the multiverse, into other versions of yourself throughout the multiverse, which is kind of a cool concept. And then he was like, I know someone who could help us out. Let me go visit Scarlet Witch. And she basically immediately is evil.
Yeah.
And she was the one who sent Shumagorath after America because she wants to get herself into one of the other universes where her kids actually exist, Wiccan and Speed, or Billy and Bobby, or whatever the fuck their regular names are. And so she wants to suck out America's powers and use it so she can go kill another version of herself and replace them.
And just live there. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously pretty evil. One complaint I've heard from a lot of people is that like this totally negates all the character growth she went through in WandaVision.
Okay, I've heard that multiple times as well.
Right.
But
why is that incorrect?
it's incorrect because she has the dark hold and it corrupts whoever uses it. And I feel like people gloss over that part.
Yeah, that was like
so
the
much.
end credit scene of WandaVision.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but you can see, I forgot, Agatha. You can see Agatha, like, in her backstory, the quick little flashback. She didn't seem all that evil. Like,
right.
You know, she did suck all these other witches' powers, but to be fair, they were trying to kill her.
Right.
And, you know, what is she like after the Darkhold? She's evil and she wants to suck, you know, Scarlet Witch.
Suck her stuff.
She just wants to suck some stuff.
Suck her stuff.
So I think that's the
yeah,
part
the Darkhold, you know, is kind of like the Necronomicon, Book of the Damned, whatever, in the Marvel Universe. And yeah, it taints you. Like, that's the whole point. And so, yeah, you know, and we do see her with it at the end of WandaVision. So I think, you know, WandaVision was kind of like the fake reality that Wanda set up for herself in that, where it's like, we were like, oh, she's better now. She's over it. And it was like, no, that's all a twist on reality.
Yeah.
She's just gone deeper and crazier.
Also, I don't think it negates her growth. I mean, if you think about everything she's gone, she lost her brother. Yep. And she came over that. She got over it because she realized, okay, it wasn't actually Stark.
Weird coping mechanism, falling in love with the robot, but, you know, to each their own.
And then what happens to her? Her husband dies, and she had to do it. You know, she had to take
twice.
Twice. Yeah. She had to take the gem out of him. She gets kids that she loved, that she thought were hers, although those were just, she actually just made up. She didn't pull them from another dimension.
Right.
So, yeah, she's gone through a lot of shit. Sometimes people do a lot of fucking wacky shit. Like, and particularly, and then after that, you get the Darkhold. Like, yeah, I don't think it negates any of her growth.
At the end, and it doesn't necessarily make her a bad person. It's obviously the Darkhold corrupting her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it lessens any of the stuff she's done as an Avenger or whatever. But yeah, she's having a rough time. It is permanently that time of the month, you know? And so Doctor Strange and Wong bring America to what's it called? Kunlun? It's not Kunlun. That's Iron Fist.
Yeah. No. Yes. Or was that?
I think it was Kunlun.
Or maybe you're right.
No, because Danny Rand said it a fucking million times. It brings him to the main sanctum where Doctor Strange learned to be a sorcerer and stuff, and she just fucking wrecks everybody.
That's one part where what I say bugged me. I think that's one part that I thought could have been done better. Yes, she is very strong, but so is Doctor Strange. I would have preferred if they were almost equally matched, but at the end, she just overpowered him. It seems, to me, it felt a little weird that, like, this whole school of a bunch of sorcerers weren't able to stop her. When, for a while, Doctor Strange went toe-to-toe with Thanos with, like, 5 Infinity Stones. So it's like... And then again, yeah, she almost beat Thanos, too. But that part, to me, is like, all these sorcerers, like, the majority of them are masters, and, like, they couldn't pull her off a little bit longer. It did seem a little bit too easy. But, you know... It was a little thing.
I mean, it that's one of those things that's kind of hard to convey. You know, it's very hard to choreograph a big CGI fight scene where you want to make it seem like they're even, but then also have her be a threat the entire time, right? Like, Thanos goes through and, like, just destroys people and whole planets and stuff for the longest time. And then you want to build tension by have him have a harder time with certain people, kind of thing, to show that glimmer of hope. So it's like, it's a tough thing, and I kind of forgave that. I did really like when they, like, trapped her in, like, the mirror universe or whatever,
the mirror dimension,
that little trap.
Yeah.
And she, like, comes out kind of like the girl from The Ring, all like contorted and stuff. Very creepy vibes with her, like, escaping and, like, murdering all these people and stuff. And eventually, so America and Strange escape to a different universe, to universe Earth 838 or something like
or
that.
816, I don't know, 836.
well, 616 is the main MCU universe, which was kind of cool that they named it that, even though the MCU and the comic book universe are actually different.
Yeah.
It could have been like 617 or something like that, but whatever. And I'd say one of my bigger complaints about the movie is that I wanted a little bit more multiverse universe hopping. Most of the movie just took place in 2 universes.
Yeah, 616 and whatever.
And 838 or whatever.
And then a little bit in
that one that was falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I wanted a little bit more. And we see that scene where like they're getting transported and like they turn into paint, they turn into black and white, they turn into cartoons that looked very similar to the What If cartoons, which I thought was cool. So we saw a little bit of that, but I would have loved like a little bit longer scene where like they're running through and then she's opening another one and running through and then opening another one.
Yeah, but at that point she didn't have control, or she didn't know she had control of her powers. True. Yeah, but I did love that they actually went through hell. Yeah. And some other ones that were like could have been something else. I don't know.
Like Savage Lands kind of, but it could have just been Dinosaur Earth. We don't know. I thought it was cool. It was definitely everything in this movie looked amazing. All the CG and stuff looked fantastic, I thought. And then they end up in Earth 838. They see a statue of, Stephen Strange, who gave his life protecting Earth from Thanos or whatever. And they're like, oh shit, I'm dead in this universe. But then he gets captured and brought to a very famous building in the Marvel universe. Well, actually, we don't know if it was the Baxter building.
They said it.
Well, she said she works for the Baxter Foundation.
Oh, that's
But we
true.
don't know if that building was necessarily
that's fair.
the Baxter building. He like gets basically he gets drugged by Mordo, who is like his mortal enemy. But in this one, he seems slightly cooler, I guess, but maybe not really. Still kind of a dick. And he wakes up and he's in the building lair of the Illuminati. There's a scene in the trailer where it's like, Doctor Strange, the Illuminati will see you now. And we got a little taste of Patrick Stewart saying, we should tell him the truth. But it was actually seeing that take place. Where's my fucking, there it is. Actually seeing it take place and seeing everyone who came in was pretty fucking awesome.
This is the part where I was like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to get anyone excited. But
so let's talk the Illuminati in the comics. The Illuminati in the comics is kind of this. They're a more secretive organization. They definitely don't have like a lair and a bunch of employees working for them. But it consists of Professor X, Charles Xavier, Iron Man, Tony Stark, Namor the Submariner, King of Atlantis, Black Bolt, Blackagar Boltagon, King of the Inhumans, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, and Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four. And they kind of like, they decide some of the major things that happen in the Marvel universe. Like they kind of like, oh, how should we handle the Kree or the Skrull invasion or whatever? They were the ones who decided to send the Hulk to out into space because he was too much of a danger, right? This version of the Illuminati that we see in the show, let's talk about who comes out. First, Mordo's part of it.
Mordo.
Lame.
I mean, the only reason why he was there is because
Doctor Strange is dead. Yeah, he would have been in it for sure. We see Maria Rambeau as Captain Marvel,
which I didn't think they were going to do, but when I saw, I was like, oh, okay,
it's kind of cool. Yeah, so we kind of assumed that she was in the test flight with Marvel and got the powers, right? Then we see Captain Carter, Peggy Carter,
which I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was fine with.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, even though like Captain America was never in the Illuminati and fundamentally would never be in the Illuminati.
He wouldn't.
But Peggy Carter's a different person. She was a spy first and foremost, so I kind of give that one a pass. Then we get to see King of the Inhumans himself,
which I was shocked. I didn't think
I was shocked indeed.
I didn't
but
think
I
they were going
loved
to do that at all.
Black Bolt
with the classic
classic suit with the little tuning fork up on his forehead and the winged armpits. And it was played by Anson Mount, who played him in the Inhumans TV show. Do you remember that?
I never watched it.
Well, you weren't missing much, Christian. It was pretty bad. Here's a little pic of him in his, and you can see he has a similar jacket, but besides that, he looked like a normal dude who didn't talk the whole time. And then Medusa, his wife, who's like his queen, she's supposed to be super powerful, and she has like hair powers, has the worst red wig in the history of cinema. But not in this show. Black Bolt looked fucking sick. And the little flashback scene, to dealing with their Doctor Strange, where they basically thought, he had been dealing with the Darkhold and he was going rogue, so he had them kill him.
But he was still at the point where he knew he had to go. He didn't try to fight it. He was like, nope, all right, this has got to happen.
Yeah, and Black Bolt fucking melted him with his voice. And he's like, I'm sorry. And just fucking exploded. That was fucking sick. And then last but not least, then we see John Krasinski, Jim from The Office as Mr. Fantastic.
Which I was like, oh my God, they did what the fans wanted.
Yeah.
I was like, that's one where I didn't think at all they were gonna show.
Yeah.
I was like, Fantastic Four is too far along. They're probably haven't casted anyone. And I did not expect that at all. That's the one where, like, when I saw it the first time, I was elbowing my fiance. I was like, I can't believe it. She's like,
it's
what?
fucking sick.
Like, okay.
Well, yeah, I think when we saw Rachel McAdams and they were held in like those boxes and stuff, I kind of elbowed you. I'm like, is this the fucking Baxter Building?
You called it right before she said it. Yeah. And I was like, all right, at this point he's already guessed. And I just nodded.
I was like, fuck yeah, I'm getting Fantastic Four. It's happening.
I didn't think at all. Like at all. I did not expect that.
That was exciting.
And he looked great.
He looked great. I mean, he looked just like all those fan pictures,
Teleported in
using like the Doctor Doom portal kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was fucking sick. And then last but not least, freaking Professor X.
Which they actually did the 90s theme music.
He comes in the freaking yellow hover chair, Sir Patrick Stewart himself. And the best part about it was that they did play the 90s cartoon music. There was like, and Danny Elfman, we should say, did all the music for this.
Yep.
I think he did like, didn't he do Harry Potter?
Yes.
And I mean, he Patrick Stewart in all his glory, he's in the yellow hover chair thing, which is fucking amazing. And like, I had the toy of this when I was a small child. It was very exciting. And even when we see him do some of his telepathy powers, they had the little rings.
I loved it.
And
I love that too. Like for anyone who didn't watch the cartoons or read the comics, I'm sure it was kind of like, oh, whatever. But for those of us that did, I was like, that's fucking amazing.
I know. The attention to detail on stuff like that is what I really enjoyed, But all is not right. The Illuminati are like, hey, this Doctor Strange is going to fuck our shit up. So...
Well, and that's the thing, I guess, that what we learned from the Illuminati is it seems like they do check other universes. I'm assuming that's Reed Richards. I mean, they can't teleport, but I'm assuming they could keep an eye on it. And they pretty much sound like, Doctor Stranges are assholes. Like, you guys
are always fucking shit up. So,
so they weren't too quick to trust them.
Yeah, but then Scarlet Witch shows up.
Well, before that, Professor X actually shows Doctor Strange what had happened to their Doctor Strange.
Right.
And, being that he's Professor X, while he's in there, I'm sure he rummaged around his mind. And he's able to tell, like, nah, this guy's cool. Like, he's fine. Like, he's a good dude.
Yeah, exactly. And, so Scarlet Witch shows up and immediately... Oh, we should say, too, that there was Ultron robots kind of leading everyone.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it had to have been either their Ant-Man or it was Reed Richards.
Yeah, I would assume it would be a Reed Richards, or who knows? Maybe Hank Pym is in that universe and he made it or whatever. Who can tell? But they're not psycho robots, which is nice. But they're also not made out of vibranium, so they get fucking destroyed real quick. Scarlet Witch shows up and just starts immediately fucking people up. So the first one is Black Bolt. He gets annihilated.
Well, first, what I want to say, and this is another thing that slightly bugged me.
Right.
All right, Reed Richards is the smartest man in
at least in our Reed Richards in 616 is very smart.
Although Professor X did say the smartest man on the planet.
Yeah, maybe it was a dumber universe, you know.
That was my.
They did go on red and stop on green.
That's fair.
On traffic signs.
And had pizza balls. Who would make pizza? How
Yeah.
are you gonna grab it without dirtying your hand?
The best part about pizza is it requires no napkins or vehicles.
Yeah, because you got the crust.
You got the crust. Keeps it clean.
So maybe you're right.
Dumb universe.
Then
got plants all over their buildings. What's that about?
But he tells the Scarlet Witch, he's like, "Oh, don't do anything because Black Bolt here can destroy you
with a whisper."
With a whisper, which is true. He would have he's super strong. And then, but like on Twitter, someone said, because someone had obviously tweeted, like, "You tell me that's the smartest dude who's giving away their best tactical advantage," but it was clearly like he did say, "Oh, you took over an innocent woman's body," and it was like a threat to get him. Or to get her to stop.
Right.
Because they didn't want to kill her. I'm like, that's a fair point, I guess, that I didn't think about.
Yeah. And also, there's several people in the MCU who are very intelligent, right? Who end up doing stupid shit, right? Hank Pym invents Ultron,
True.
Or Tony Stark in the cinematic universe, right? And I think a lot of it comes, or Doctor Strange for that matter, is very intelligent, but then he uses the Darkhold and fucking, goes evil. So I think a lot of it comes from like a hubris point of view. Like, he's trying to play the diplomat. Like, look, Black Bolt could fucking own you. Just calm down. Let's talk this out. Like I could see that happening, trying that because he's intelligent. He's super intelligent, but he can also be a little naive when it comes to how fucked up and evil people can be and stuff at the time. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, she basically does the old Matrix trick on his mouth and seals his mouth. And then Black Bolt freaks out for a second and says something and blows his own brain out.
See, and this is another part that some people were upset. Is like, he's supposed to, like, he's immune to his own power. It's like, well, is his skin immune to his own power? Because if that's the case, it was immune. It didn't come out and it just went back into his brain and fucked him up.
Well, and to be fair too, is like, it's not that the back of his skull didn't blast out. So if he is immune to his own power, maybe his vocal thing just reverberated and
well,
scrambled.
That's what I'm saying. Like if it's his skin that protects him, it had no way of escaping unless it would have come out of his ass or his ears. But
he just lets a little like sonic fart that levels the entire building.
That was definitely one scene where I could imagine parents losing their minds because there wasn't a whole lot of blood, but it was pretty gory.
It was violent AF. Yeah, so Black Bolt gets his brain melted. Reed Richards gets like turned into a spaghetti.
And then his head
his head pops. Captain Carter gets in a couple good little hits and stuff. Throws the shield around. She has a cool jetpack, which was kind of sick. I'm sure like Reed Richards, created that for her or whatever. And but then she gets cut in half with her own shield.
And again, you don't see it,
but you know what happens.
You see the blood on the shield, but you definitely hear the like all the guts files. Like, wow,
so good. And then
kids aren't that smart, but they're smart enough to piece that.
They're smart enough to figure that out. Yeah. And then the other problem I kind of had with that was Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel gets a statue dropped on her.
Yeah, she wouldn't have died from that.
Yeah, and to be fair, we don't know if she died. Maybe she got knocked out or whatever.
That's true.
But still,
I mean,
she flew through Thanos' ship.
Yeah,
at like the speed of light or whatever. So, and I don't see that stopping her. It would have been cooler if like she, because the Scarlet Witch's powers is she can change reality and bend it to her will kind of thing, right? And so I think actually it's supposed to be like she changes probability.
She changes probability to.
They kind of turned it into like the reality stone from the Infinity Stones. And it'd be cooler if she just like vaporized her or something, or overpowered her so she blew up or something like that. And she flew up into space to get away to protect Earth, and then just supernovaed.
But Captain Marvel did hurt her. Like we see her limping, and so she definitely fucked her up. So.
Yeah, gave her that cool like that T-1000 like walk when she's like walking, chasing after them slowly, just ripping doors open and stuff. Then we see Professor X. That was a tough one to watch.
That was tough. Although the Reed Richards one, because I was like, no, like
he was just here.
He's not gonna be in the movie. And then I was like, wait, he's a variant. It's fine.
Yeah. And let's talk about that for a sec, because yes, it was cool to see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, but let's not forget that does not mean he's going to be Mr. Fantastic.
That's true.
In the
Some people
movie.
were bummed out that it wasn't the original guy from the original movie, and I'm like, dude, nothing against his acting. He was fine. I actually liked him as a Reed Richards, but
right, those movies were bad.
Yeah, I mean,
they were fine for the time, sure, but they even at the time we were like, oh, this is not great.
I just really liked the way Silver Surfer looked. He looked amazing, but I mean,
right,
they could do that again, I guess.
Yeah, so but that's the thing is it is a variant, so it's okay that all these characters get brutally murdered. Because it doesn't mean that they can't show up again in our MCU, and it doesn't mean that different people can't play them too. Like Patrick Stewart, as awesome as he is as Professor X, there is a very good chance that he won't be Professor X.
Yeah, he's getting older.
He's
Although if they keep him in the wheelchair, that's fair. They just roll him around.
Just wheel him around, just like fully automate that thing. But and he's open to it. He has said that he is willing to come back as Professor X if the script is right. Sadly, he said he's done being Jean-Luc Picard, but that's okay. And so, but I think they could recast it, and that would be fine too. But that's what's so cool about having a multiverse thing is you could literally do anything you want. You know what I mean?
Nothing has consequences.
Right. Like they could have had Robert Downey Jr. come in this one and just get exploded again. And everyone would be like, "Why you killed him again?"
That's one thing where I thought for sure they were going to have a variant of Tony Stark. And that's one that I was slightly starting to believe that it was going to be Tom Cruise as a Tony Stark. But I was like, oh, okay, they didn't do that. And another big shock that I thought for sure they were going to show was Submariner.
Right.
Because he's the one with the movie that's coming up closer. And I was like, at least they're going to introduce him. But
it would be funny if like the after credits scene was he just flutters in with his ankle wings. And he's like, "Where is everybody?"
Just the end.
Him and Sue Storm, and it's like Emily Blunt. They come out of a room and she's like got her hair all frazzled. He's like, "What I miss?"
They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that.
Submariner and Sue Storm. For those of you who don't know, they have a will they won't they.
He's always
Submariner thinks they will. She thinks they won't.
He's always been interested. I've never gotten the vibe that she was interested.
Oh, she likes it. She loves the little wing ankles. And he just wears a Speedo all the time. He's like, "Oh, you like my fucking 8-pack?"
Fucking, what do you call them? Cum gutters?
Cum gutters. Yeah. It's not what I call them, Christian. It's what they're called.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It helps them swim better, more aerodynamic.
Yeah, it's more aqua dynamic. And then so eventually, like, Scarlet Witch gets America back to her universe. They find the Darkhold Temple on Mount whatever the fuck. And
it was like Wonderlust or something. Or Wonderland.
Yeah, who cares? It's all made up stuff anyway. And one of the coolest parts of the movie, I thought, we do see Doctor Strange fight kind of an evil, sinister Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Who would cause his world to like kind of fall apart or whatever.
What do they call
Convergence.
Convergence.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Which is going to lead to Secret Wars.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. Or some similar circumstance, whatever they call it. And they have that cool music magic battle,
which I really liked.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was a very interesting way of showing some of the different powers that he has, but also it gave Danny Elfman some playtime. He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah," and so then eventually he's stuck in like that universe.
Yeah, because they don't have America, so they can't.
They don't have America, so he can't travel. But he does have the Darkhold, right?
He took it from
he took it from Sinister Doctor Strange, and so he can dream walk or whatever back into our universe, and he does that into the dead body of the first Doctor Strange.
Necromancy, baby.
Necromancy, yeah. And I loved him, first of all, using like the demon ghost things as a cape.
Well, yeah, he's getting attacked by these, what do you call them? The
like
damned.
wraiths or something like that.
Yeah, so he's like, because he was animating the dead, so they were attacking him. And yeah, so he's losing, and then I guess his girlfriend basically says, like, you are the master of the mystic arts. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can do this. And he kind of just sucks them in. And he can't fly. He doesn't have his cape, but he uses them to fly. And that all the visuals of that was
so cool.
Was so good. And it's,
that's the one you see in the trailer where he's got like the million arms, like a bunch of them are like demon arms.
Or yeah, and when he's standing in front of the Scarlet Witch, like for the little collar, they're the hands, and they're all over. And
so
like,
cool.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
And then big CGI battle between the two of them, and then America kind of like, she realizes her powers and stuff and punches the Scarlet Witch. But then eventually the way she beats her is she shows her the other version of, she shows the version of her kids that she was trying to like, steal or whatever. And they're like afraid of her and they see that she's like this monster and she's like, oh no, I am a monster.
No, she says, I'm not a monster, I'm a mother.
I'm a mother. Real motherfucker. That's what I'm talking about. And so basically she sees the evil, that she's done. And I loved Doctor Strange giving kind of like the go get him tiger speech as a dead zombie with his like mouth hanging off and stuff. That was the best. That was some Sam Raimi shit there.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And so then Scarlet Witch kind of collapses the temple on herself. And America, saves our Doctor Strange and brings him back to his universe kind of thing. Then let's talk a little bit about after credit scene. So the first, I guess like it's not the after credits; it's the last scene of
the mid credits.
Well, there's the one that's just the last scene of the movie where he's walking outside of his house. Everything's back to normal. He's got a new outlook on life. He's over what's her face, Rachel McAdams, and he walks down the street. But then he starts like freaking out, and then the third eye opens up on his head.
Yep.
So a lot of people are saying that that's from his use of the Darkhold. Tainting him or whatever.
Which,
but
that's kind of what I think it is.
But it could be his use of the Eye of Agamotto, which in the comic books I think that's what gives him that third eye sight. So it could be just him self-actualizing some of his other powers, but who knows? Doesn't matter. I love how they ended on that, and I kind of wish the movie just ended on that because the mid-credit scene that comes after diminishes that a little bit.
Where you think, oh, is he evil or is he hurt? It does give it more of a horror ending where it's like that last scare.
Yeah, but then there's mid-credit scene. He's like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I guess I'm okay with a third eye. And then Charlize Theron comes out playing Clea, right? I think I had a picture of Clea somewhere on here.
I saw it. You had it.
Here we go. And she's like, Doctor Strange, come with me if you want to live. She's got a convergence that apparently he caused, and she needs his help, kind of thing.
Which is in Dormammu's realm, which is that's where you see him fight or challenge Dormammu in his realm. And I believe she's supposed to be the daughter of Dormammu.
She's a niece, I think.
Or niece, okay.
Yeah, Uncle Dormy. I don't know.
And Dormy would be better than Mamu.
She's also been Sorcerer Supreme. She's essentially the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension. And, they go on adventures. They eventually marry each other and stuff, too. So that's kind of the where Doctor Strange is going to go. I think he's going to go on more multiverse adventures.
Well, they said he will return.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he's going to be back for Kang. So
yeah,
maybe we'll get a movie in between. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. And then the very last scene is Bruce Campbell as Pizza Papa, and I love the hand fighting himself like Evil Dead 2. Yeah. And he's like, "It's over! It's finally over!" And then that's the end. That was a good one. I liked it.
We should say what happened to Scarlet Witch. She brings down
the temple on herself. So
some people are like, she's dead. Like she's not dead.
She's not dead. They did that so we can see her come back again. Unless you see a brain explode or something like that, she's not really dead. So what do you think is in the future of like? Do you think this really affected the MCU's future, or does this kind of strike you as more of a self-contained story?
No, I think the fact that they used everything from WandaVision,
Yeah.
it's definitely going to affect the future. And I mean, we all know it's going to be multi-dimensional battles. Like, I mean, they're just setting up everything. Although I'm a little worried, not worried, but like the space between like when they introduced Thanos
Yep.
and the Avengers and the arc was like 10 years span. Like it took 10 years.
It was a long time, yeah.
So like I feel like this is getting rushed, and I don't mind having them. I want more movies in between, but I feel like this arc is going to be very, very rushed, which I don't want it to be. But
Right.
I don't know.
I don't think it will be, because I think, Kang was originally announced for Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Quantumania, yeah.
So I think that it is going to be a slower burn than we think. I think maybe some more multidimensional stuff will happen, but I think there will be like some sort of more localized threat before that happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully. And hopefully, the X-Men are in there before it happens. But
right.
I mean, the fact that they showed Professor X gives us hope that, soon-ish.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, I think one thing I can kind of foresee happening is having a Fantastic Four movie where we get a Doctor Doom.
Hopefully.
And then Doctor Doom kind of, he's always up to something, exploring something he shouldn't, right? And I could see him kind of finding more about Kang and trying to tap into his powers and mistakenly bringing him in. And that's kind of the catalyst, kind of like Loki,
Yeah.
Getting the scepter and stuff. So I could see that happening. And maybe we have, a movie where it is, Fantastic Four, and maybe getting some help from someone else fighting Doctor Doom or something. You know what I mean?
I just wish they hadn't got rid of the Dark Hold, because it would have been kind of cool to see Doctor Doom with it.
Right.
Because he does use the mystic arts as well. So.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I will say, this has definitely turned me around a little bit on the future of the MCU, because some of those movies, like I think Shang-Chi was probably my favorite of the last three, other than Spider-Man, of course. Spider-Man, we all knew it was going to be great leading up to it. Just all the leaks and stuff, we knew that was going to happen. Because, they kind of, how could it not, with all those like cameos and stuff?
It's crazy how hard people were going with the leaks on Spider-Man, and I feel like there wasn't any leaks for this. I don't know.
Well, I think part of it too, if you look back at the scene with the Illuminatis, and if you do watch it again, you can kind of check this out. I don't think they're all in the same room with each other. I think they're comped in for sure. Mr. Fantastic especially, like, didn't feel like he was in the room with everyone else. So I think if you have John Krasinski in a room at Marvel Studios with the green screen around him, just being like, my wife and kids, blah, 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 I'm stretchy, whatever. Like, I think it's much easier to hide that than it would be with like fucking Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire swinging around on these huge sets, so.
I'm fucking stretchy.
I'm stretchy. I'm fantastic. Rhymes with elastic. Whoa. So I could see that happening. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm interested. I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder looks great.
Yeah. Well, we know that.
We know that's going to be a good one. Black Panther 2, I'm very concerned about.
I have no idea.
Because it's this year. It's November, I think.
I think whatever we get, we need to be respectful. But
don't want to anger them, right? Don't want to anger that crowd.
I meant more because Chadwick Boseman has passed.
I know.
And we should be respectful of the movie. But yes, I am concerned not because of him or angering them. It's more of like, there's...
I think it's concerning because we haven't heard anything about it.
Well...
We don't know how they're handling Chadwick's
From what I've
demise.
read, like, there's been like 6 rewrites or 6 script changes.
The sister got kicked off the movie.
And then she came back eventually.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Which, I don't know. Did she get vaccinated? Did she not? Doesn't matter, I guess.
I mean, it kind of matters.
It
get vaccinated.
But I don't know.
I'm concerned. And then Yeah. And then Namor's getting introduced in it, and he's one of my favorite characters, and I hope they do him right.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. So, anyway.
Well, it's a Mexican actor, so you can't hate him or else you're racist.
No, it's okay.
No, them's the rules.
I always thought of him as Asian, though. He just, like I've said it before, but that Brian Yee guy, Brian Yee, I think that's his name, or Brian Z, something like that.
Is that the villain from the Wolverine movie?
He's the villain from Too Fast, Too Furious.
Okay.
Or no, not Too Fast, Too Furious. Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that guy. He with the eyebrows is the main thing. Namor's always got those fucking like triangle eyebrows. I thought he would have been good. He's a little too old now, but I hope it's good, man. But I will say, if you're still undecided on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and you listen to all those spoilers and still aren't sure, I would go see it.
Oh yeah, it was dope.
Go see it.
I want to see it 4DX.
Yes, I think that would be an amazing thing. But I'm excited for the Marvel Cinematic, where it goes next. Let us know what you guys thought of the movie, and if we missed anything that you guys caught, like little Easter eggs and stuff, we'd love hearing those. Throw those down in the comments. While you're down there, like and subscribe. Click the little bell icon to get notified when new YouTubes come out. But if you're on the old Apple Podcast or Stitcher or what have you, they should just let you know. They'll be like, hey, guys, listen to the new podcast. Come on.
Also, if you guys found Sam Raimi's brother, I couldn't find him. I was looking because he always puts his brother in everything.
Oh, yeah. His car was in it. The car that's in all of his movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Evil Dead car. I forget what it is. I think it's like a Buick or something. It was one of the cars floating in the
I was looking for his brother. I couldn't find him. Bruce Campbell was just obviously right there.
Right, exactly. But yeah, let us know. Leave us a time slot down at the bottom so we can tell. And while you're down there, check out patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. Help support the show. And thank you to all the patrons who already support it. We do appreciate you guys. You guys make the show possible. We do appreciate it. Christian, thanks as always for...
Let's go watch it 4DX.
Yeah, man, I'm fucking down. I do want to see it again in theaters. It was great. And to all the nerds out there, remember, you're not alone. You're with friends. This is Nerds with Friends. Thank you and good night.